Welcome back to the Brentwood Joe's Town Hall podcast.
Well, gather round, folks. It's time to take a stand. Brentwood Joe's Town Hall. Let's lend a helping hand. What's going on in town? I want to hear your
This week's question to ponder: trash pickup. First, I'd like to thank Jim Michaud for his efforts to get this before us, the townspeople. While automation may eventually be inevitable, do we want to keep it status quo for as long as we can, or do we want to bite the bullet and embrace automation? How do you all feel about recycling? I've heard at the select board meetings that some people feel it's a scam and not worth the extra cost. Let me know what you all think. Message me with your thoughts and concerns. If you have questions, let me know. I will do my best to get you answers. Let's dive into the latest from the Brentwood Building Committee's meeting on the 12th of August, 2025. This was quite an active session, with several key discussions and public input that shed light on the direction of their proposed municipal building project. First up, the meeting kicked off with the approval of the 8th of July minutes. The chair noted that the meeting was pretty short and sweet, but abstained from voting as they weren't present. 5 members voted to approve, with 2 abstaining. Right off the bat, we heard from Laura Hodger, who raised significant concerns about transparency. She pointed out that for 2025, the committee's minutes and agendas weren't posted online, and even the agenda for this very meeting wasn't available. Furthermore, this meeting wasn't on the town calendar. Laura urged the committee to start posting past and future minutes, agendas, and to use the town calendar to ensure public awareness. The chair acknowledged the issue, stating they do have minutes and agendas, but struggle with posting due to other duties, even offering to take a volunteer to assist with website access. Next, Bill Faria strongly advocated for a change in terminology. He urged the committee to refer to the project as a police department rather than a municipal complex. Faria believes that pursuing a municipal complex will lead to nothing, emphasizing that a police department is what Brentwood needs most, highlighting the current mess downstairs. The committee acknowledged that a police department is one of the options they are considering, but clarified that only a police department is not currently within the scope of alternatives being evaluated. Jim Hager, the chair of the Municipal Budget Committee, then delivered a crucial financial perspective. He informed the building committee that the town's tax cap for this year limits the increase in total appropriation to a little over $313,000. With nearly $12,000 freed up from a Brentwood bond payment schedule, the new money available is around $325,000. Jim explained this number as the maximum the budget committee can recommend, though taxpayers can potentially go above it if they wish. Jim presented bond scenarios from the New Hampshire Bond Bank for $3 million, $4 million, and $5 million projects based on a 30-year level debt. He shared the first-year payments. $3 million project, $190,000. $4 million project, $250,000. $5 million project, $315,000. Jim's suggestion to the board was to try and get the project to work within the current tax cap, stating it's possible with a reasonable approach focused on a police station only. He warned that going above the tax cap would require a 3/5 majority vote for the bond to pass. Jim passionately argued against exceeding the tax cap, citing Brentwood's unique success in passing a tax cap last year when other municipalities failed. He highlighted public frustration over rising tax bills, noting a promised 3% increase turned into 7%, and a projected 7% for this year is now likely 10%. Jim believes that if the committee proposes a police department that fits within the tax cap, they have a much better chance of the bond passing. The building committee chair, however, maintained that their job, as set out from the beginning, is transparency and providing information so the voters of Brentwood decide what they want. They are tasked with evaluating options and estimating costs, not right-sizing the project to meet the tax cap at this stage. The committee's mission is to collect information over the fall, ensuring any warrant article is backed by professional, architectural, and engineering opinions. They are looking at 3 core options. Police department only. Potential joint facility that could allow for future municipal use. Shared facility for 2 immediate uses, such as municipal offices and the police department. The committee reiterated that they don't yet have cost information to understand where they fit within the tax cap discussion. Jim clarified that his statements, except for his opinion on success rates, were 100% from the Budget Committee and already part of their presentations. He stressed that if the project goes over the tax cap, the Budget Committee by law has to vote no. Moving on to the project's progress, Doug from Turner Group provided an update. His team has survey crews on site to finalize the assessment of the existing building. Doug displayed boards showing the proposed program for the police department and town hall, noting it's about 75% of the building size that Wesson and Sampson previously proposed. The goal is to make it even more efficient. They've completed a topographic map and will start test fits of the police department within the site, working on parking layouts and space needs. Doug also mentioned using a Matterport survey, a point cloud, to develop existing footprints and test building sizes. The next step is to develop actual concepts. Regarding parking, Doug and the chief discussed the need for covered spaces for cruisers to preserve their lifespan, aiming for at least 8 sheltered spaces. Additionally, they're planning for 10 staff parking spaces for the police department, and on the town hall side, 15 staff spaces and 20 visitor spaces, totaling around 53 to 55 spaces as a starting point. The committee voted to include a QR code in the town newsletter, which leads directly to the project's dedicated page on the town website, brentwoodnh.gov/new building. This is intended to funnel people to a single source of information and answer frequently asked questions. There was also discussion about displaying project boards at the library for those who are not computer literate. Letty questioned the need for more frequent meetings, especially as deliverables from Doug's team come in. The committee anticipates having conceptual sketches to review in about a month. There was also an email from Jim Michaud suggesting evening meetings. While the current Tuesday 1:30 p.m. time works for most committee members, they are open to adding supplemental evening info sessions once they have designs to present. They aim to schedule a late September info session after reviewing Doug's concepts, possibly at the BRC or library, focusing on Q&A and informational posters rather than decision-making. Linda Sutton from Three Ponds, new to the topic, asked if a community survey had been done prior to bringing in architects, questioning if the cart was before the horse. The committee clarified that the town has been allocating money for these studies and services through town meeting votes since 2019, and that the police station is insufficient, suffering from flooding and mold. They explained that the chief knows the department's needs, and the 3 options are being explored to see if combining facilities could save money, ultimately giving taxpayers choices. Linda suggested using Facebook for information, but the committee expressed concern about misinformation spread on social media, preferring to wait for solid information from Doug's team before widespread social media distribution. The committee committed to sharing information via existing town social media channels and providing Q&A opportunities, acknowledging past challenges with public forum attendance. Finally, Laura Hudger clarified that the old Weston Sampson feasibility study is still on the website, contrary to what she thought was implied, and suggested either pulling it down or clearly marking it as historical to avoid confusion. The committee decided to organize the information chronologically rather than remove it entirely to maintain transparency. That wraps up our look at the Brentwood Building Committee's recent meeting. It's clear that the project is moving forward with design concepts, but there are ongoing tensions between budgetary realities, public perception, and the committee's mandate to explore all options for the voters. We'll keep an eye on how these discussions evolve. Last week, I got some feedback. It was very positive. I really appreciated the people who reached out. One person in particular, Kevin Murphy, messaged me with his thoughts on the podcast. I am very happy he took the time to do that. He also had some questions. He agrees we need a police station. He, like a lot of us, is not clear on what a municipal complex would include. He also agreed that voter turnout for town votes is low, while also pointing out that we almost filled the Swayze gym. If we get more people to come, what do we do about a larger venue to accommodate everybody? I asked some people that I know who I thought might have the answers we were looking for, and I found out that there is an RSA that would allow us to use the Exeter High School auditorium. The only thing we would need to do is offer transportation from Swayze to the high school, which would be way cheaper than a new building. I will try to find the exact RSA in the meantime. Kevin was also disappointed at the 1:30 meeting time. He would like to attend some of these meetings, but has a job and a family to support like most of us, and it makes it difficult for those of us who want to be involved to be involved. My hopes are that can change in the future. I'd like to thank Laura Hadger from the Historical Society for answering some questions that I had and helping me to purchase a lifetime membership. I also purchased a very cool, informative 600-page hardcover book of town history produced by the Historical Society. It's a great book. It has a lot of fascinating information in it. The book is $25. There's also an updated supplement available for $10. The stuff in the book is amazing. It's a fascinating read. It's a hardcover, and it would make a great addition to anybody's home library. If you wish to purchase the book, you can reach out to the Historical Society through their website, brentwoodnhhistory.org. You can get a one-year individual membership for $15, a family membership for 1 year for $25, and a lifetime membership for $200. Some things I found out from the book as I was reading it were that over the years there had been individuals and even warrant articles that called for a permanent town office building, but proposals were always turned down until 1978. Even for a town with a history of volunteerism, tackling a project like a town office building was a major happening. Starting with an idea, a piece of town-owned land, and a $20,000 appropriation from the 1978 town meeting, residents pitched in with time, materials, and equipment to erect the building in time for town clerk Betty Waite to move in on the last Sunday in January of 1979. Before construction began, 30,000 feet of lumber were cut off the property, enough to have all timbers and boards needed, and some was sold to offset the cost of having it milled. The site was cleared, drainage pipe laid, covered with gravel, and the site cleaned up by late May. After the foundation was poured, construction got underway in earnest, and by early fall, the plumbing, wiring, and septic system were started. The undertaking was making headlines as far away as California and Florida. Interior work progressed through the next few months, and finally, still needing finishing touches, such as floors, some electrical work, and painting, it was open for business in January 1979. There was a large list of volunteers that you can read in the book. You may be related to some of them, who knows. There were many others, including wives and children, whose contributions were not recorded, but who nevertheless are owed a debt of gratitude by the town. This was taken from the book, and it was written by Carol Gaynor and Linda Russo. As I mentioned in the first podcast, I'd like to do a shout-out to somebody every week. This week, the shout-out is going to be to Wayne Robinson. Wayne has worked for the town for quite a long time. Wayne was the chief of police from 1995 to 2017, and also he's the road agent from 1999 to right now. Now, I don't know about you, but one thing I've noticed is the huge difference between our roads and the surrounding town roads during the winter. Ours always seem to be cleared much better. I live on Michael Bennett Road, which turns into Dogtown Road in Exeter halfway down. The transition is always night and day. Wayne takes great care of us in many ways, a lot of which we never even know about. So huge thanks to Wayne and his crew. If you see Wayne, shake his hand and let him know how much we appreciate him and what he does. Please get those mentions into us so we can recognize those achievements by people that we should be recognizing. As always, please thank our first responders and any military members you see. They have thankless jobs and need to know we care about and appreciate them.
Brentwood Joe's Town Hall podcast is produced and brought to you by Cry Out Media Creations, your go-to team for AI audio and video magic. From promotional spots to custom voiceovers, marketing, and entertainment, we make your ideas come alive. Visit cryoutmediacreations.com and tell us about your vision.
And that's going to do it for this week's podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please send any and all feedback to Brentwood Joe's Town Hall podcast at gmail.com or drop us a message on the Brentwood Joe's Town Hall podcast Facebook page. Have a great week.
Together we'll build